4 things we will note before we pick on the lessons. Number 1, what you know determines what you choose. What you know determines what you choose. Decisions are products of knowledge and understanding. What you know determines what you choose. People make choices on the basis of what they know. For example, what somebody knew regarding the wife he married was the reason why he married that wife. Later on, he got to know some things and began to regret. If I had known that this is how you are, or the husband as the case may be, I wouldn't have married you. What you know determines what you choose. Second, what you choose determines how you act. Choices are the fuel for action. What you choose determines how you act. What you choose determines how you behave. Nobody stole by choice. Nobody robbed by accident. Nobody stole by accident. They made the choices and then put forth the action. What you choose determines how you act. What you choose determines how you behave. And thirdly, how you behave determines what you become. How you behave determines what you become. That is where destiny comes in. How you behave determines what you become. This is the equation. Actions determine habit. Habit determines character. And character determines destiny. Actions will determine your actions repeated will form your habit. Habit established equals character. Character confirmed equals destiny. Repeated actions form habit. Habit that is established forms character. And character confirmed equals destiny. The ICT, I heard people say you should leave some of the information on the screen for them for a while so they can follow and catch up in case they missed it. Actions determine habit, habit determines character, and character determines destiny. Now, all of this started with something you know. What you know. What you know determines what you choose. Then what you choose determines how you act or behave. And how you act or behave determines what you become, which is destiny. So it started with what you know. And these things are what we call the lessons of destiny. There are different sources of these lessons. Different sources of what we know that can shape our lives and shape what we become. When you see two people, maybe they have similar background and similar opportunities and possibilities, and they don't end the way they should end. They don't end at the same area of life. It means that certain lessons were not learned, Certain choices were not made. Certain behaviors were not put forth. And so, they couldn't end the same way. What are these various lessons or various sources of our knowledge that can influence our choices and influence our actions and influence our future? The first one, number one, is lessons from the past. And when I say past, I am referring to your own particular past. Lessons from your past. They form lessons of destiny. The lessons from the past include lessons from missed opportunities. Opportunity you missed that you kept regretting. What did you learn from it? If you were confronted with similar opportunities in the future, what will you do differently? It's lessons from missed opportunities. Also, second, lessons from past mistakes and errors. Mistakes and errors. Your mistakes, your errors are facts. They were not problems, they were facts. They are no longer problems, they are reality, they are facts. And you don't deny the fact. You accept the fact and use the fact of the past to change the future. Lessons from past mistakes and errors. They also include lessons from negative occurrences in the past. In your life, negative occurrences. Maybe that man wouldn't have taken advantage of you if you had behaved or acted differently, and vice versa. Also, they include lessons from positive occurrences of the past. Certain things happened well in the past that you can leverage on for the future. You learn from them. That was what Laban said in Genesis chapter 30 verse 27. He told Jacob, I have learned by experience. And Laban said unto him, I pray you, if I have found favor in your eyes, tarry. For I have learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me for your sake. I learned. The experience of my past with you shows that, Jacob, if you remain with me, I will be a better person. We learn positive from the positive events of the past. Please take note of the following concerning this point. First, that it is those who learn from the past that lead in the future. When people are able to learn from the past, they are able to lead in the future. Also, secondly, until you learn beyond where you are, you don't go beyond where you are. Until you learn beyond where you are, you don't go beyond where you are. Very, very important. Even though I'm going to come to lessons from history, but let me say this. Third, that those who fail to learn from history most definitely repeat history. And this is your personal history. The reason why that relationship did not work, if you didn't learn from it, another relationship won't work. Those who don't learn from history most definitely repeat history. So this is lesson of destiny number one, is lessons from your past. Second lesson is lessons from the present. Lessons from the present. We already read it. That was our text in Psalm 19, verse 1 to 3. Day unto day, the heavens declare your glory, the glory of God, and the firmament sheweth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. What is the meaning? First, the universe is a university. Second, life is a library of lessons. The universe is a university. Life is a library of lessons. Third, until the lessons of life are learned, progress in life is never made. Until the lessons of life are learned, progress in life is never made. Because it is one thing to have eyes. It is another thing to see what life is showing. And it is one thing to have ears. But it is another thing to hear what life is saying. Eyes that see, that look are plenty. But eyes that see are few. Eyes that hear are many, but eyes that listen are few. Yes. In Proverbs chapter 24, verse 30, we read it some time back, where Solomon was saying, I went by the field of the slothful, and by the vineyard of the man void of understanding. And lo, it was all grown over with thorns, and nettles had covered the face thereof, and the stone wall was broken down. Then I saw and considered it well. I looked upon it, I received instruction. What was the instruction? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall your poverty come as one who travels, and your want as an armed man. These are the lessons from the present. While you are driving on the road, you saw something, you learned. At the airport, your eyes are looking at things you are learning, and you are writing. In this situation now, you are learning. Please take note of the fourth point I will make. That life easily passes a person by who doesn't know what life is revealing. When you say life has passed him by, it means that the things he is meant to be seeing and hearing is never seeing anything. Life easily passes a person by who doesn't know what life is revealing. Is not aware. What are we learning from life? Three basic things. Informations and instructions for progress. Next, positive principles to live by. And third, actions to change. Instructions, informations for progress, positive principles to live by, actions to change. As you pass by, you watch things, you see things, you are changing. That is number 2. Source of our knowledge. It's lessons from the past, lessons from the present, and these lessons include the informations and the instructions for progress, positive principles to live by, actions to change. Number 3, source of our lesson is lessons from confrontation. From confrontations. Lessons from confrontations. Micah chapter 7 verse 8. He said, rejoice not against me, O mine enemy. When I fall, I shall arise. Now the B part is very important. Even when I sit in darkness, the Lord shall be a light unto me. So inside every night, there is a light. Note it down as information. Note first. Inside every night, there is a light. In case your life appears to be overwhelmed with what looks like a night of life, there is a light to see. He said, even when I sit in darkness, the Lord shall be light. There is something the night is saying. Second, you have heard this over and over, it's very popular saying, every mess has a message. The situation appears messy. Like what we find ourselves in the world now, there is a message. Third, every frustration carries instruction. This situation, everything here just looks so frustrating. There is an instruction there to avoid the frustration next time. Fourth, every problem carries a promise. Goliath was a problem, but for David it was a promise. And fifth is a quote by Benjamin Franklin. It says, the things that hurt instruct. Everywhere there is a hurt, there is an instruction. Those things that hurt instruct. Out of the pain can come the pen. Something to pen. You know, in the battles of David, David learned so many lessons in the battles he fought. One of the lessons I believe David learned is, don't use what you have not proved. When he tried to carry the armor of Saul, in 2 Samuel chapter 17, verse 38 to 39, he was trying to move with the armor of Saul. He could not move. I think David must have learned that lesson. Don't use what you haven't proved. Prove it to use it. I think he also learned that the armor of Saul cannot win the battles of David. That is, you use your armor to win your battle. I think he also learned that for as long as you have his command, you will be in command. Because for every battle, David received instructions from God. What should I do? God will say, pursue, overtake. 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 8. As long as you are in touch with his command, you must be in command. I'm sorry I didn't itemize the lessons of David. It's a message of his own. In case you want to put it down, you could. That first, David learned first, don't use what you have not proved. To use it, first prove it. And then, that the armor of Saul may not handle the battle of David. And then, that for as long as you have his command, you are in command. One thing I think that David must have learned is that it is better to be addicted to his commandment than to be married to methods. Because there may be a different instruction for the same enemy at a different occasion. David was confronted by the same Philistines twice in rapid, and the instruction changed. In 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 17 to 25. We may not have the time to read it. The issue is, it's not that God caused the problem, but that there is a situation around you. You make the devil pay for it by learning everything that must be learned, by taking maximum advantage of what was meant to bring you hurt or pain. Lessons from history. This is not your own personal past now, but history generally. What we know from history. Take note of the three things I want to say. First, history exists so that positive principles can be embraced and negative principles can be avoided. What happens in history? When we see things, history, the history of our family line, our parental lineage, history of our country, history of our land, and so on and so forth, they exist so that positive principles can be embraced and negative principles can be avoided. Second, people become history while they are alive when they fail to learn from history. A person becomes outdated, outmoded, antiquated. He is still alive, but his history is forgotten when they fail to learn from history. Thirdly, lessons from history fuel progress in the present. When we learn from history, progress in the present is fueled. That was what happened to Daniel. He read the book of the prophet Jeremiah, who existed before him, and learned from history. He said in Daniel chapter 9 verse 2, he said, in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of years whereof the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem. Which means he read the book of prophet Jeremiah, a history book of the word that communicated the history of his people, and realized that it was time for the captivity to be terminated. And then he began to pray and intercede to push it into happening. And he was quoting Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 10, where Jeremiah mentioned that the Israelites would be in captivity for 70 years. And Jeremiah chapter 25 verse 11 to 12. He understood by those books, by those writings. And as a result of the lessons from history, he was able to fuel progress in the present. Those who succeeded, why did they succeed? And those who failed, why did they fail? Lessons from history. That was number 4. Lesson that can influence your destiny. Number 5, lessons from the successful. Basically, the secrets of the successful, the principles of the successful. What did they do and what are their personal life's principles? So those basic things from the successful. What are the secrets of the successful? What are the principles of the successful? 2 basic things. In every field there are successful people. Every realm. And like Dr. Maurice Cerullo said, all truths are parallel. Take note of the following quotes or statements. 1, a wise man said, I think it was Isaac Newton. He said, if I have seen any brighter, it is by standing on the shoulders of those who have gone before me. If I see brighter, it's because I stood on shoulders of those who went before me. Second, God's servant Bishop E.A Adeboye said, I paraphrased it. You can't take the steps of giants and die as a dwarf. It's not possible. You cannot take the steps of giants and die as a dwarf. You can't take steps after giants and die as a dwarf. Then I said this third. What to you is a future destination is someone's current position. For you, that is where you are looking forward to. For him, that is where he is. Also note, what to you is a possibility is someone else's reality. For you, this could be possible. For him, it is real. What is the wisdom? The wisdom is to learn what took him to that destination. And the wisdom is to learn what gave him that reality. But we have an arrogant generation. An arrogant generation. A generation who see the successful as their problem. Very arrogant. They are lucky. Or they may have done some dubious things. No, sir. Not everybody successful is crooked.